And that's what men are dealing with. This isn't life. This isn't worth it. Everyone else gets to eat off the fruit of my labor, and all I do is labor. And went to the areas in my life that caused the most chaos internally. So I tell men, run to that like you will run to your family if someone's breaking into your home. So on one side of this chart, we have the masculine male, and on the other side is the comprehensive man. So the masculine male suppresses his emotions and hides behind a facade to appear strong, as we've been sharing throughout this conversation.
And it makes you exhausted.
Yes.
And angry.
Yes.
And isolated.
Yes.
And never able to rest. Really intentionally recognizing that's a moment to create space to say, how are you? No, really.
Absolutely. Holding, like Nicole and I exercise, our therapist taught us, is just to sit in front of each other, knees touching, holding each other's hand, and staring into our eyes. No communication. I actually do that exercise with fathers and sons when they're going through, I guess, having some conflict. The father always is the first to start crying because words really don't express what we're feeling. The eyes, when you're looking into each other's eyes, you look into your son's eyes, and you know as a father where you've made mistakes, and you know really his behavior is tied to a lot that we're doing. To give the father the opportunity to show his love in a way without saying it, and the son sees like, whoa, my dad is like super tough, but he must really love me. I must be really special for him to cry right now. And that's all we want. Our children just want to know that they're the apple of our eye and not the worm in the fruit.
It seems, at least I'll speak on my behalf, that the men in my life are either angry in the way they express their emotion or they're silent.
Yes.
Is that pretty typical?
Those are safe. You can't be weak. You can't be soft. You can't be a simp, as they say. Exactly. If you're just angry. If you're silent, you look stoic now. Oh, he must be strong because nothing ever phases him. And so men, anger is a very safe emotion to express. When our feelings are hurt, we're angry. When we're sad, we're angry. When we lose, we're angry. When our wives express that they want to spend more time with us because they miss us, we're angry. It's a surface emotion. That's why I tell men to dig deep. What are you really feeling? And I can compare it to masculinity to the crayon analogy in this book. As men, we stay within the 8 box of crayons, okay?
Yeah.
And we may pull out 4. Women have 64.
That's why we confuse you so much, Jason.
But this is interesting. We were created for all of those emotions. They're not exclusive to you.
That's true.
Yeah. It's there, but we've been hoodwinked by allowing society to define what a man is. And so when women are communicating with us, they may pull out, I'll use an analogy of the color violet, and all we have is purple. We can't meet the moment. Or even more complex issues, they ask for lime, and we're trying to put green and yellow together. And because men, we're not used to expressing the gamut of emotions that we have as human beings, we can't meet the moment. And so I need to learn how to express more than my anger. If you don't trust me with the finances, it's not the anger I need to express. It's the hurt you make me feel because my father never trusted me with anything that required responsibility. Or my mother, because my brother who was murdered, never really encouraged me to do anything that was risky. And so when a man can express his heart to his wife or the woman in his life, a mature woman, she drops her guard. And now we can communicate. Now, this is to the men and to the women. Women should listen as well.
Oh, I'm listening. I'm hanging on every word, Jason.
I tell men, listen, stop allowing the fear of her using it against you to prevent you from being a human being.
Ooh, that's
As we
so
were
good.
making this journey, Nicole, I share this story in the book. We were in a car at a grocery store parking lot, and this was the first time I expressed myself without yelling.
How long had you been married?
26 years.
And the reason why I'm saying this, Jason, is because I speak for the person listening right now and probably the entire.
Yo, that point of her possibly using your words against you, like, don't hide yourself because you think she may possibly use your words against you. That is so real. Like, why put yourself in a box of who you actually are because the person that you're with may not accept you for what you're thinking or how you feel? The overall question that you should be questioning instead of trying to hide the real you and the real emotions is, why am I with somebody that I can't open up to? Forever is a long time. When we say we want to be with somebody forever, when we want a life companion, that is partnership forever. So why would I want to walk this earth with somebody? Because that's what marriage is. Now, I mean, why would I say I want to walk this earth with somebody that I can't open up to? But instead, we have found a way to make ourselves feel comfortable by actually hiding ourselves. So when the real you comes out, it's kind of like, wait a minute. Nobody signed up for the real you. And the only reason why nobody signed up for the real you is because you never exposed the real you to give that person a chance to either accept or deny the real you. Because you have hidden it as the answer, and that's not the answer.
Entire planet, and that I could just sit here and listen to you as if I were in the best sermon ever. And the more I absorb what you're teaching us, there is no doubt.
But before we get into that, I found a way that y'all could make some side hustle money on your phones. But the only thing is that you have to play games on your phones. And I know that a lot of people do not like playing games on their phone and stuff like that. But this is an easy way to make some bread. Even if you can only make an extra $100 or $200 a month, that could pay a couple bills just by playing games on your phone. And if you click my link in the description below or in the comments below, you could start out with a free $5. These companies are literally paying people just for y'all to play games on your phone. That is crazy. But just try it out. Go peep the games that they have. If you don't like it, hey, it is what it is. But I say it's worth a try.
Out in my mind that it's true.
It's
And
my
I start
favorite
to
uncle
feel
right
this
now.
sense
Jason
of like,
Wilson.
what do I do? What do I do? You know, if you're a man who's hearing this and you're like, I scream at everybody. I am carrying so much from my past and from my father and my grandfather, and I work. And if I'm not providing or I lost my job, I've lost my way. And I guess we're going to get to what to do, but I want to hear you validate that there's hope. Because if you were married to Nicole for 26 years and it took you that long before you could express yourself without the default of anger, there's hope for us all.
Absolutely. And even right now, we still go through intense marriage therapy. And I was sharing the story. I'm glad you shared what you did, because at that very moment, I had to make a decision because Nicole yells at me, says, "You're the most emotional man I ever met," and slams the door.
Oh.
So I'm like, I know she didn't just call me out like that, my manhood. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go back to being this man who comes in the house, very dogmatic, unresolved anger, not patient with you, and I'm going to give you what you want. But that's when I realized, like, wait a minute, I'm not doing this for you. See, again, there it is with the manhood piece.
Yes.
We're used to doing everything for everyone else except us. I tell men to fight for yourself like you do others. You deserve this life. You deserve the freedom. I made the decision that day. I'm not going back. I'm not going back in that cell where there's loneliness.
And
where
anger.
I'm depressed and anger and suicidal thoughts and thinking about my father. I'm not going back. You're going to have to walk with me as this new man. And then to the wives, be gracious to yourself, because Nicole had to unlearn what she had been deceived to believe a man is. So it's a process on both sides, and it's a journey you both can take.
Let's say the person who's listening to you right.
That was so prophetic, the way he put that. You do not be a good person. You do not be this next level of yourself for the person that you're with. You do that for you. That growth, that person that you're becoming, those things you stop doing. You don't do that for the person you're with. That anger that you set aside, the emotional awareness that you now have, you didn't do that for the person that you're with. You're doing that for you. You don't do that for your family. You do that for you. So when you don't get out of character, even though the moment may look like, okay, I need to get out of character because this person doesn't deserve this better part of me that I'm trying to become. No, it's not about the person. It's about who you're trying to become. You don't do it for them. You do it for you. The contract you signed for yourself. Because every moment is a test on whether or not you're still the old you or have you really transitioned into this new version of yourself. That's a test between you and you, not for that other person. Because I hear so many times people say, yeah, but she doesn't deserve that. Nah, women don't deserve that. Nah, my dad don't deserve that. Do you deserve that for you? That peace of mind, do you deserve that for you? That forgiveness isn't for them, it's for you. That understanding isn't for them, it's for you. That emotional awareness, that patience is not for them, it's for you. That's where we get confused. We think people need to earn us being a good person. We think people need to earn us being peaceful. No, peaceful is for our peace of mind. That was so good.
Now is recognizing I have a lot of issues with anger and I get so frustrated and I raise my voice and I do want to get control of this. Is there a tip that you have for how you can keep yourself peaceful and centered as you're talking to somebody that you care about, especially if it's about a subject that you might get testy around?
I actually keep a picture of my wife in my phone. And because I know that majority of the time when we're having disagreements, it's not necessarily the Nicole who's 51 speaking, but Nicole who is 8 or 10 years old who's speaking during a time in her life where things were unstable. And so what this does, it keeps my heart tender towards Nicole.
Oh,
I look at this
wow.
picture whenever we're having some discord or just a disagreement or distance, and it softens my heart towards her and it makes me more present. And when I come home and we can talk about it, I want to talk to the little girl, because it's always a cause and effect for every behavior. And this picture is a reminder that we all have broken boys and broken girls inside. And so I
Like that.
often tell wives to do the same, ask their husband for a picture of a time in their childhood when it was turbulent or they was experiencing a lot of hurt or trauma, and have the wife to download the picture in their phone. And then whenever they're having an argument or feeling distance, she could look at the picture and say, I wonder if this is little Dave coming out right now. Do I need to speak to that person?
I'm
And so
gonna
this
try
is
that
a
with my
great
wife.
exercise
like
that
that.
I do for my heart to make sure
Except
that
for a picture.
as much as I am tough, that I am tender as well.
I love this because, Jason, what I'm realizing is I could use this with Chris. I can get so caught up in my emotions and I take it out on him that I forget who I actually married and that he's just a really good guy. And I love this. What are the surprising reasons that men are so angry that are important for the person listening to either understand, or if the person listening is a guy and you're validating their experience, for them to feel validated that they're not alone in experiencing this?
I would say we want to be understood too. We want to be heard too. We don't like being made to feel that we're crazy for expressing a concern for something that's not a concern for you. Because if we were to do it, we'll be considered impatient or not loving. And as men, we just want to be heard. I can't tell you, often I would share with Nicole about an issue I would have with our children. And as a loving mother, she takes sides with the children.
Oh, I do this all the time,
Yeah.
Jason. Did Chris tell you to say this?
Well, I'm glad I'm saying it. And so I had to tell her, I said, but you didn't hear me though. You didn't hear what hurt me. I always acknowledge my wrong to my children. I'm not perfect. I just strive to be present. But you didn't hear my heart. You didn't hear how I felt when my son said this. And so as a wife, when you miss that, you'll say as a husband, I can't give her my heart.
Well, and I think you just made me see for the first time
Hmm.
that if your husband or your partner doesn't feel like you're with them, it means you're against them.
Mm.
And now all
Mm.
of a sudden, I didn't mean to, but I've just blocked you out of your own family because
Mm.
I've aligned myself with the interest of the kids in this opinion that I need to protect them from your anger versus taking a step toward you
Mm.
and allowing you to be heard and validated. And the same thing must be true with your son or your brother as well.
Yep.
Because if you don't ever feel that your concerns or feelings are actually validated and you're always bossed around with discipline and being told what you're doing wrong and the constant nagging and pointing out, which is more of the do, work, provide, whether it's grades or it's wins on the football field or whatever it
Or
may
the
be,
honey-do list.
or the honey-do list, like now you're being reduced to the actions that you take instead of your experience.
Yeah, and it's we're in it together, and there's nothing wrong with protecting the children. I protect them.
But you got to validate the
Yeah,
concern.
that's the key. So sometime Nicole is the lion with, and I say, hold on, Cole, and it goes both ways. But to your point, you're absolutely correct. Is that, well, let me get outside of the mother right now and let me hear my husband's heart, because you want that as well. You don't want us to just focus on your words. You want us to hear what you're really saying. The most important things we miss, we need to focus on that. I often look at the things that haven't been said, her body language, Nicole's eyes,
Yes.
even how she's moving in communication. And it lets me know what I'm missing.
See, I think you just actually.
See, here's the thing, like, especially in marriage or just in a peaceful relationship, you want to choose peace over the issue. Like, when there is a problem or conflict that is in the air, it's not me against you. It is us trying to figure out something that is going on. You know, we're still teammates. It's not now the Lions versus the Bears, the Giants versus the Patriots. We're still on the same team. So when you want peace, you will search for ways to, okay, let me still keep this peaceful. Let me understand from her point of view. Let me not just see it from my lens. This is the key. Let me not just try to be right. And when you get to that point where you could be empathetic for other people and kind of sit in their shoes for a second, you will be so much better in relationships. And I'm just saying, in friendships, in, you and your mom, you and your dad, you and your spouse, whomever, to be able to see something from somebody else's point of view instead of just seeing it from your point of view. I go back to the video that I did yesterday about men not going to the club, and the women were saying that, oh, men are DL. That's why they're not going to the club, because they want to be the main attraction. I use that as an example because she was so stuck in her perspective that the perspective of a man had to fit her perspective rather than her actually trying to sit in a man's perspective. So never be that person that you want to see the world only in your way.
Shared the surprising thing that no one talks about. And I'm going to admit something. This is not going to surprise you, but it might surprise you as you're listening to me and Jason. So, as you know, Jason, my husband started a men's retreat called.
If y'all see me looking like the opposite way, it's because I have two screens. And I keep looking at this screen because this is actually where it's at. But this screen right here is where y'all can see me actually looking at the video. But that's why I keep looking back and forth.
Soul Degree. And he leads them 3 or 4 times a year, takes 12 guys, ages 21 to 75, all different backgrounds in life. They spend 5 days off the grid practicing everything you're talking about: meditation, yoga, silent hikes, small group discussions about things that are happening in their life, hopes and dreams that they have, frustrations. And you come out feeling like you've reflected, reset, you've released and you've rested and you feel renewed. And Chris does not share anything confidential, but I've often asked him, what is the biggest takeaway? And he said that universally, that the men that he works with all say that they come last, that everybody's needs come before theirs. And I'm going to tell you something. When he first told me, I was like, that's complete BS. You guys are watching golf and you're watching the game and, you go to work, but then you come home, you do whatever you want. And
I've been watching golf heavy lately.
that was me rejecting a truth. And when I stopped myself and just said, okay, well, let me just process this for a minute. Do I even know what Chris's needs are? Does he even know what they are? And it struck me because I'd love for you to turn to chapter 9 in your book, because you write about the exact same thing. It's on page 139. And I want you to read the first part of that so we can unpack this. And as you listen, you're either going to feel validated or I want you to have an open mind about the truth of this.
One of the most significant obstacles preventing men from breaking free from emotional incarceration and evolving into comprehensive men is the inclination to suffer alone in silence. This suffering persists because men often believe nobody cares.
See, I think that's probably the biggest problem. Do you think that's true?
Absolutely. It ties to that, we'll say, I'm alone. You're not alone.
Well, and I'll tell you something else. I'd say 95% of the men that either sign up for information about Soul Degree, which is Chris's retreats, and this is probably true of the work that you do and the seminars that you do, are women who are wanting the men in their life to really get some support. And the men aren't thinking they necessarily need it. And I believe that we have an epidemic. I see this with our son, who, I'm fine, I got it, would rather just soldier on than burden somebody else and not even sure what he needs. And so
that is so true. Y'all know that I just got my knee surgery probably like 2 weeks ago. My wife will see me struggling, throw the blanket over my feet, because I can't bend my legs and, put the covers on my feet how I regularly would. So I'm throwing the covers over my feet. And sometimes it doesn't cover my feet because I'm 6'2", So she's like, babe, do you need help? I'm like, no, babe, I'm good. And I'm sitting here going iteration after iteration, just trying to get it over my feet. But I don't know. It's something as a man, you just don't want to burden other people, or you don't want to feel like, I don't know. It's like I don't want to throw somebody off of what they're doing because I need help. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's something as a child, maybe I asked for help at one point and somebody just made me feel like I was doing too much, or I'm asking for too much just by actually, that is what it is. Yeah, see, we're figuring out things as we're watching this video. But as a child, there was a lot of times I would ask for support. I would ask for help. I would just ask for something as a kid, and there were times where I remember getting shut down, just purely getting shut down to the point where, like, now I don't want to ask nobody for nothing because I'm reminded of that feeling of when I used to ask for stuff. I'm reminded of that punch, not physically I received any punches, but I'm reminded of that pushback that I received when I actually needed help. So now, like, when somebody asks me for help, especially my wife, it's like, I'd rather figure it out myself. And it's also a military thing. Like, in the military, you're faced with a lot of situations that you're like, okay, this was not supposed to go this way, but you got to figure it out. That is how it is in the military. So anytime something arises that I did not plan for, I kind of just see it as, okay, a little side quest mission. No, I'm going to figure this out. And that could be a good and bad, because sometimes you do need to know when to reach out for help. But I've gotten to the point where I got so tired of asking people for help when I really needed it, to the point where I don't want nobody's help. Like, I want to say I figured it out. And that's not always a good thing. But with knowing that about myself, I can work towards that and I can fix it.
So I would love to have you teach us, what the hell do we do? Because as I listen to you and I kind of like think about, okay, I'm with you. And I see some of the mistakes that I make that are so subtle, but it's like death by 1,000 cuts that isolates somebody. How do you address anger in your son or your husband or your father or your brother? I mean, because if I bring it up and I'm like, dude, you seem angry. He's like, no, I'm not. Like, so how I'm not running a dojo in Detroit and getting people to, because you have this groundbreaking method that I would love to have you explain to the person listening. But then I want you to teach me, how do I do this? How do I reach my husband? How do I reach my son? How do I reach my brother? And I would love for you, Jason, to describe this groundbreaking method that you developed using martial arts and boxing to help boys in particular process emotion. And then we're going to get into, but what do I do at home?
As men, we have to own what we're doing as unhealthy. Meaning, if we walk around with this looking like a superhero, we're going to keep being asked to do superhero things because superheroes don't sleep. They don't need a life. You don't need to go hang with your friends. We first have to remove the cape, leave it at the door, or better yet, put it in the trash and say, I'm a human being. I'm not to be treated like I don't need sleep. I'm impervious to emotional pain or anguish. And so as men, you have to first acknowledge that this life is not what I want.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
I want you to give the man listening
Yes.
an assignment.
And so what to do, I would tell them, first acknowledge that you're worth more than what you can do. When you get there, and when I got there, I was able to say, I can't do it today. I'm sorry, you may be disappointed, Nicole, but I won't be able to paint the living room until next month. Sometimes the most responsible thing you can do, my brother, is to let things go undone so that you can get some rest, so that you can not only be present for your family, but to be present for yourself, to be able to look in the mirror and say, wow, I miss this side here. This is hurting me. This is my father neglecting me. I need to revisit this. Maybe I need to go see a therapist or a counselor, or better yet, I may need to go see my father, because the last thing I would want to happen is for him to transition out of this place with unresolved hurt, pain, and emotions, and maybe trauma. And so identify that you're worth more than what you can do. Also, your value resting actually is a confirmation that you're taking care of yourself. I don't say self-love, I say self-maintenance, because we as men understand what it means to maintain something. So please start maintaining yourself and practice saying no and not now. As hard as it can be as this superhero dad, superhero husband, saying no is actually saying yes to yourself. And you deserve to be treated as a human. You just now have to fight for that in a way where it doesn't condemn or hurt those that you love, but yet you make a stance in protecting where you're going.
I love that. And one of the things I want to highlight is that the first step to changing your life is admitting that you no longer are enjoying the way you're living it currently.
I often tell men, you're not tired of living, you're tired of not living. And that's what men are dealing with. This isn't life. This isn't worth it. Everyone else gets to eat off the fruit of my labor, and all I do is labor.
You've just heard the direct words from you about rest. What would you counsel a man to do next?
It's time to delve deep. Let's go where you fear the most. Introspectively, let's deal with the childhood trauma that keeps resurfacing. The boy that arises in an argument with your wife. Let's help him heal. So many men are walking around with broken boys, and it's truly a sad sight to see, because you can see it in their behavior, fighting at sporting events, just the reaction, no response, just reacting to anything that pricks the skin. And so I tell men to be courageous, and let's delve deep. Let's go where it will hurt, where you will feel what people would say unmasculine emotions. Let's deal with the sadness, the deep hurt of never really getting affirmation from your mother or affection. And I love what Chris is doing. The best place to start is a retreat, especially in an intensive one where you have to leave the phone and everything away and go off grid and really deal with
That was the
yourself.
military for me.
It's another great one called The Crucible, where I went on to heal from my father wound. And all throughout the entire time, I had prayed, and God says, I'm going to show you who you are. I didn't think I was a leader because my father would curse me out for the simplest things. I would never do an interview like this if I hadn't dug deep and went to the areas in my life that caused the most chaos internally. So I tell men, run to that like you would run to your family if someone's breaking into your home. You have to be okay with feeling. You have to be okay with being human. You have to be okay with revisiting the past so you can stop allowing your trauma to time travel and ruin your present. And that's what it's about. It's about, you want to be masculine? Let's do it. Let's fight right now. Let's be bold and face ourselves so that now you can become a comprehensive man. Now you can heal. Now you can be in the areas in your life where you need it the most. And so when men say, how do I become this comprehensive man? I want it. I say, run to the areas that hurt you the most, that make you feel weak or not masculine or strong.
I love this framework that you develop, that you teach, called the comprehensive man. And I would love
so
for
good.
you to explain the difference between the masculine man and the comprehensive man. And you write about this in your book, but if you
Running to those pain points is not easy, fellas. Especially, somebody commented yesterday when I did part 1 to this video, and they said, this video almost made them cry. And I commented back, shout out to you, bro. I commented back saying, bro, cry. But that's the thing. That is part of the reasons why it's hard for us to face that thing, because there are emotions that we don't like to feel, like crying, like feeling sad or feeling down or feeling too bad for ourselves. Like, we don't like feeling those things. But the relationship that we have to be able to have with ourselves is a vulnerable relationship. If you don't have that relationship with nobody, you can have that relationship with yourself. And what does that look like? It's just having real conversations with yourself, seeking help. And help doesn't always mean therapy. I definitely advise therapy, but I'm also saying just watching a video like this, reading a book about this topic, just being real with yourself. Even if you feel like you can't be real with the world, be real with you. Cry, man. Turn on that Rod Wave song. You know what I mean? And let it rain outside and just cry, bro. Just let it out. It is okay to cry. We are humans. God made us. God allowed us to cry for a reason. God allowed us to cry for a reason. We are allowed to cry. Now, that doesn't mean to cry and then, stay down and just be sad forever. No, bro, but we feel. And it's all right to feel. It's all right to say, yo, things is hard right now, bro. I'm trying and it feels like nothing is getting better. It is all right to feel that way. And allow yourself to express that to yourself. Stop pushing that little boy down, that little boy that's inside of you. We all have that child inside of us. Stop pushing him on the floor every time he says, but, it's just not working out. Stop pushing him. Nah, listen to that. Listen to that version of yourself. Allow that person to speak. Console you. Do that for yourself. Again, this has nothing to do with nobody else. This is for you. The person that lays down at night and struggles to go to sleep. This is for you. This is not for nobody else. This is for your peace of mind. Have those conversations with you. Allow yourself to feel those emotions. Because the more you allow those emotions to compact, like I said in the video yesterday, it's going to come out one way or another. It just may come out in anger. Anger that you can't explain why you just reacted the way you reacted. So rather that, allow yourself to have space to just express to you.
You would just go through the 6 attributes of what the traditional masculine male does. versus what's available to you if
So
you
glad I did
give
this video.
yourself the freedom to feel.
Absolutely. So on one side of this chart, we have the masculine male, and on the other side is the comprehensive man. So the masculine male suppresses his emotions and hides behind a facade to appear strong, as we've been sharing throughout this conversation.
And it makes you exhausted
Yes.
and angry
Yes.
and isolated
Yes.
and never able to rest.
Absolutely.
And what is the comprehensive man? What's
In
available to you?
contrast, the comprehensive man expresses his emotions freely without fear of being judged. The masculine male exudes only masculine characteristics. Again, he's only strong. He's only the provider. He's only the protector. But it's not a comprehensive definition of what a man is. You want to become a human being, not a human doing. And so you have to navigate through all of the characteristics that you must be as a comprehensive man. Believe it or not, you are a nurturer. How many men, well, you're starting to see more of it now, but typically with the aggressive dog breeds, you'll see a man with 5 or 6 Rottweilers or Cane Corsos compassionately taking care of him. But the image still is tough. The challenge is I like to see one of you get a dog like I have, a Cavapoo, and do the same thing, but still you can put your dog down and take care of business if someone tries to challenge you. A friend of mine, actually, I'm glad we're talking about this. He's an ex-Marine, severe PTSD, and he bought a dog, a Shih Tzu. He had no idea how this dog would change his life. And he was walking the dog one day and a guy yelled across the street, "You need a real dog." And he yells back, "When you're a real dog, you only need a pet." See, that's what it's about. Know who you are as a man.
Rapping.
Doesn't matter how you view me. I love flowers for what it does for my mind. But test me if you want to go there. I'm comprehensive. I will not be boxed in anymore.
I want to just stop and say, do you hear the power in what Jason is saying? I love
Yes.
flowers because of
Brother,
what it does to my mind, but don't you
Man.
dare test me.
Mm-hmm.
I love this little dog because I love like cuddling this soft, furry thing. I don't need a pet.
And that is true confidence. You know what I mean? That is true confidence. True confidence is not loud and trying to threaten everybody and let everybody know. No, bro. That's not true confidence. You're a mascot. You're trying to paint yourself as confident. True confidence is quiet. I made a video about dudes that actually train in martial arts and stuff like. Those are the dudes that want to fight the least. But those are the dudes that can win the most fights. When you are confident, when you understand who you are, you don't have to prove you're masculine. You know what I mean? Like, it is, I am completely comfortable with myself with crying on camera and posting it. Why? Because I know myself. You know what I mean? I know I ain't no softy, but I know I'm a man at the end of the day, and I'm a man, human. You know what I mean? With the emotions. Just being comfortable with me, Yeah, I like flowers. Like you said, yeah, I like flowers because of what it does for my mental.
To prove that I'm a man,
Absolutely.
I need some love in return for all that I give.
And I love aggressive breeds, Mel. I've owned Rottweilers and German Shepherds. At this stage in my life, all that I've been through, I needed something softer to come home to. We can go to number 3, I guess. The masculine male feels threatened when another man is more successful than him. See it all the time. The comprehensive man, however, in contrast, is not threatened by another man's success, but instead he's inspired by it. Wow. When I became comprehensive, I stopped comparing myself to others and started saying, wow, that's amazing. I wonder how I'm supposed to walk on this earth. What is my purpose? I'm happy for him, but I want to know my path.
What I see there is when you think everybody else's success or happiness or bank account or car is a threat, now you're against everybody.
Very good.
And when you become whole, and in your terms, a comprehensive man that is free to express how he feels, he is free to be strong and to be nurturing, he is free to be whole, then you realize the game of life. You're never against other people. You're actually playing with them.
Absolutely.
Which means it's not an individual sport where you're against the world isolated. You're actually on the field playing with a big team, and it's everybody.
Very good. And oftentimes as men, we look at being an individual as being isolated.
Hmm.
And this is a good one. This is why I put it here. The masculine male views women as subservient and sex objects, but the comprehensive man respects women and values their superior qualities. The masculine male feels fear, but will do anything to prevent anyone from knowing he is scared. The comprehensive man feels fear, but openly admits it and thereby makes wise life decisions.
You cannot beat an opponent you deny is
Very
there.
good.
And so when you recognize that you're afraid, you
Mhm.
now open up the opportunity to remind yourself that you have the capability and the capacity to figure it out.
You
is
triggered a
so
memory
good.
of a viral video from the cave. One of my students wanted to be a robotics engineer. And we were doing a drill where he had to hold on to me. Just hold on, because we were working through judo. Don't let go, don't let go. And then he just stopped. He says, "I'm hurt, sir." And I looked him in his face. I said, "You sure?" He says, "No, sir, I'm nervous." I say, "I want you to yell out, 'I'm nervous,' moving forward." "I'm nervous, I'm nervous." He had more strength in his hands than he had the entire drill. When you identify it and call it out, now you can rule it. And that's what I teach our boys and men. You can't have power when you're repressing and holding everything in. Eventually, it's going to implode or explode. It's going to come out. And lastly, the masculine male is a slave to his thoughts and emotions, but the comprehensive man masters his emotions before his thoughts become toxic.
If the person listening is worried about their son, because I know there have been plenty of times where Oakley seems bottled up or bothered by something going on or angry about something. And I'm like, "So how are you doing?" He's like, "Fine," and doesn't want to talk. What do you advise us to say if we want to reach our sons, but they're
That's a
not
great
talking
question.
to us?
First thing is respect their world. And I've been guilty of saying, wait till you get a real job, wait till this happen, then you understand what pressure is about. Once you've done that, you've put a wall up between you and them. The truth is they're experiencing more pressure than you and I did growing up at their age. So acknowledge that what's big to them should be mammoth to you.
Ooh, I love that. What's big to them
Should be mammoth to you.
should be mammoth to you, because
yeah.
we tend to, "Oh, it's not that big of it. You'll get over it." Like,
Yep.
I dealt with it and I turned out fine.
When I work with kids who are on the spectrum, I join their side. I try to become them. If you drop this pen, it may sound like a bomb to them. Whoa, how loud is it? Really, Michael? Man, how do you deal with that? Connect with them on their world. Do not impassively dismiss your children. Once you do that, you potentially risk losing them. Number two, don't worry about perfection. Worry about being present. So often,
Can I just say something about that last part real quick? Just because a parent has their own story and you feel like your story, it may be deeper than your kid's story, that does not mean you should invalidate what your kids are going through. Times are different. Everybody's chemical makeup, like I said in my other video, is different. Everybody receives things differently. I think one of the worst things that parents can do is to say, "Well, I went through that. Well, I went through this. How you gonna complain when I had this? I used to walk outside in the blizzard cold and with blisters in my." At least allow your kid to express how they are feeling in this place in their life and receive it. Validate what they're going through. Stop invalidating your kids because you feel like you went through something deeper. That is extremely selfish. Hear your kids out. But I feel like there are parents that have felt like they have not been validated when they were kids, and their time to validate what they went through is by indirectly invalidating what their kids are going through by throwing what they went through onto their kids to say what I went through was worse. And this is the time for somebody to validate that. Because you think that is bad? What about this?
and as parents, We think their behavior is attributed to something we did or didn't do. They have a life outside of us. We're not there 8 hours of their day. We don't know what's going on. They can bypass us because they have the cell phones now. Worry about being present. When my son is quiet and shuts down, it hurts me because I love my son, but my goal is to be present. So I come to his room, the door, and say, hey, do you mind if I lay down and just read? I just want to be around you, but I don't want to, invade your space. He said, oh, sure. His quietness, his being reserved or short didn't have anything to do with me.
I've never actually done that.
I didn't say a word to him. I just lay down next to him. The power of my presence speaks a love that my words could never. And it makes a major difference. Another thing I tell parents is, what could you live with? Because a lot of parents are like, well, I'm just going to let them do it. I'm tired of this. Never let your children just be. It's too dangerous.
What do you mean, what could you live with?
Could you live with receiving a call that one of your children overdosed?
No.
That's what I mean. Or could you live with humbling yourself, feeling like you're stretching yourself beyond what it means to be a parent just so that your son or daughter can heal, just so that they can have someone to talk to? Are you willing to inconvenience yourself and put your job down to lay in a room with your child? Or even better yet, hey, can we just go take a walk? Mommy's or dad is going through something as well. I advise, especially like businessmen, that take a walk with your children, leave the phone at home. It's amazing what it does for the relationship, because in that moment, they're the most important thing in the world. Dad or mom just stopped everything for me. When our children know we love them, they're unstoppable. They don't need the world's affirmation. Believe it or not, studies prove that we're the most influential figures in our children's life. That's hard to deal with as a parent, because it's like, man, I'm dropping the ball sometimes. And so I said, what could you live with? I couldn't live with that with my son, knowing that he's going through all of that and the pressure gets him to do something that could hurt himself. I'm going to do whatever it takes to stretch myself to love him. Apologize more than try to be right. I'm sorry, son. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. I'm sorry that I didn't intend that way, but so what? Because my intentions, if it still hurt you, I was wrong. Do you forgive me, son? How can we move forward? You're the most important thing to me. I love you. When we as parents can deny ourselves of ourselves, because our children, that's what matters the most, not what you're doing here, what I do. When we're older, sitting on our front porch, the most important thing we're going to think about is, how are our children? Not this podcast, not our jobs, not what we've achieved for the world, but our legacy.
Thank you for sharing that. So Jason, you said if there's an opening that you want to create. Well, if I do want to create that opening, whether it's with my husband or my son or my brother or my dad or any guy in my life, are there certain words I should use? I mean, how do I create that opening with somebody that's shut down? In fact, can you speak directly to a woman who's listening, who really wants to create that opening, but just doesn't even know how to begin the conversation?
I don't know if y'all can tell, but this is hitting me kind of hard, man. And you know what I'm thinking about as I'm watching this is just like, does that go both ways? Like when he said the thing of, remember what you can't live without. It was something like that. Like, can you live with that? It was something along those lines. Like, can you live with knowing that your kid overdosed? That part right there. I wonder if it goes both ways. Like, can you live with your parent possibly leaving this earth? And the reason why I say that is because it's easy to gaslight yourself when you think about the factor of death as a child, because you don't want something to happen to your parents and then next thing you know, you never mended whatever that thing was and they're gone. Now you have to live with that forever until your time comes. But then it's like, it's such a fine line of, but when do you choose your peace? Or is it the child's job to figure that out? Or is it something that you just figure out somewhere in the midst of, well, I do love this person and I couldn't live with knowing that something happened to this person? And even with that, do you still have to like, do you still have to deal with that person? You know? I'm just talking out loud. And when I say do you still have to deal with that person, I do know that you can still deal with somebody while having really high boundaries up. And for some people, I understand the thought of I'd be remiss if something happens to you, but at the same time, I keep finding myself in the same spot with you to the point where this is not healthy for me. You know, this keeps putting me in a dark place and I keep coming back to it because I'm scared that you might leave this earth one day and I don't get to say goodbye or I don't get to say I love you before you leave.
I encourage you first to do one thing is I tell women all the time, it's very difficult for you to train your husband or to help him because remember, he's been conditioned that coming to you or showing any side of weakness makes him less of a man. It's not you, it's how society has, well, he has allowed society to define him. So first, don't blame yourself thinking it's something you're doing or not doing. Understand it's a part of the culture. Secondly, I advise every woman who asks me this question, go to my social media or YouTube, better yet social media, and send him a reel of something that I say that may strike a chord with him. Say, this came across my feed. I think you may be interested in this. This was very intriguing, and allow him to follow the rabbit trail. It almost always happens because as men, we all long for the same freedom. And that's the freedom to be human, the freedom to express the things that are wearing us down that we carry every day, seemingly for everyone else, when we can just release it and find a new life. And lastly, live from the good in your heart, the desire that you have. Allow yourself to freely love him. And when he opens up, never impassively dismiss his emotions. Always listen intently as if he was your beloved son or your best friend. Try not to have a lot of input at all. Embrace it, the moment. Be thankful that your warrior has opened up and there's a possibility now that not only he could become a better husband and father, but yet your marriage and family will blossom. And then I have another one I can't leave out. Never try to change the weather.
What does that mean?
As caring and well-intentioned wives often do, you want to make things better. So when your husband finally opens up, you'll say, hey, babe, it's going to be okay. It's not that bad. When clearly it is. That's dismissive. Men are warriors. We want to fight. Sometimes we need to sit with it. So for you to say it's sun shining and we clearly see it's raining doesn't help. When my wife comes to me and say, Jay, I don't know how you do it, but I'm proud to be married to a man of your strength and character. I couldn't imagine having the weight that you have, how you try to love me and how we argue. And even when I'm wrong, you try your best or your job. When you affirm a man that way, now you're feeding into the masculine warrior side of him while also affirming the nurturing, the compassion, the love that he needs from you. And now he becomes more open, like, oh, wait a minute. So me opening up is actually increasing her respect for me, is actually making me appear stronger. Women, never forget, you have a great influence. Boys don't fight when people talk about their dads. They fight when they talk about their mothers. When a wife undergirds a man with those type of words, the calming touch, rubbing his scalp when he doesn't expect it, when he takes a nap and he jumps up, you come and put your hands on his shoulders. Hey, lay back down. You had a very long day today, and I need
That's
you
a
to take this
superpower.
rest in. As a man who lost his mother, I tell you the truth, when Nicole does that to me, she is my replacement, the nurturing for what I miss from my mother.
You know, speaking of moms,
Mm.
we have a lot of them writing in who are
It's so crazy that he just said that because there's a lot of women nowadays that'll be like, I'm not your mama. I'm not, oh no, y'all be trying to make us your mama. Ladies, do you not understand that? No, it's not about you being his mom. It's that nurturing power that y'all have, ladies. Y'all have a nurturing power. Your hands are naturally softer than mine for a reason. You have a nurturing superpower that when you align yourself with that, it's undeniable to be attracted to that. But when y'all have demonized it and made it into I'm not your mom, it's not about you being my mom. It's just about you being that nurturing figure that you can be. And fellas, to the way that he just described that moment that he has with his wife, that is the difference between your wife, the woman that you're supposed to be with, and these girls that you're just meeting, these girls you're seeing up on these podcasts or on the Fresh and Fit podcast or just on Instagram, just scrolling. Like, that is the difference. Your wife will make room for that for you, bro. We have gotten to the point where we have normalized not being able to open up to a woman because we have been with the wrong women. Well, y'all have been. I have my wife now, and to my brothers that's married, not y'all, but, my other brothers, like, don't get to the point where you don't feel like you can express yourself to somebody because you've been expressing yourself to the wrong person this whole time. But the right person will make room for you, bro.
We're worried about the 20-something sons who are failing to launch. You talked about this earlier. What do we need to know about what's actually going on when you see a young man struggling like that?
Well, first thing, when I talk to younger men that age, you understand they don't have mentors. They're in a rough spot because the mentors now are trying to do their own thing and they don't have time to pour into these men, these younger men. Yeah. So imagine being in a world where everyone says, be a man, but you don't have one there faithfully teaching you how to be one.
And that's why YouTube is so good, because I can't talk to everybody one-on-one. Like, I literally try to mentor probably everybody that calls my phone. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I got to catch myself like, bro, stop trying to give people the answers you think is right for them. Stop doing that. But with YouTube, and the reason why I say stop doing that is because sometimes people aren't calling you for the answer. They're just calling you to vent. So sometimes I feel like I'm you might be coming off as a know-it-all, but no, I really want people to just thrive and flourish, in whatever space and know that there is a possibility to fix whatever that is. And I think that's something the military taught us, that there's no problem that's too big, but like I was saying about YouTube, I'm not going to meet you probably one-on-one or in real life. I'm not going to stand in front of a crowd of 100,000 people, 5,000 people, 500 people and say the things that I say. But it's like I can reach people. I can mentor through my videos. And that's really what I try to do, is mentor through my videos. I don't care how old you are. Now, there's something I can learn from you and there's something you can learn from me. We can mentor each other at the end of the day. And I get up on YouTube, and this is a lot where a lot of my learnings has came from. YouTube. People hear YouTube because YouTube is still somewhat of a new thing to my generation. We remember life before YouTube. Like, I remember. So when you say, oh, I learned from YouTube, oh, I watch videos on YouTube, people kind of look at you like, But no, you can really receive good counsel, good mentorship if you find the right channels, the right pages, the right people to listen to, the right books to read from YouTube. That is the same. That is what this guy is for me right now.
So you have frustration, self-doubt, self-condemning thoughts. You're discouraged. And more importantly, you're scared. So when you see your son disengaged or staying on the game longer, those are his wins. Going to the store, building something that doesn't make him money, that's something he's just trying to win at. So don't focus on that. Focus on trying to get him involved with men that could really help him become one. If the father is too busy, which happens a lot of times, trying to provide, you have to find an uncle or a cousin or someone to say, can you please pick up Johnny and take him with you to work? I'll pay you. I have men all around my son. I am a man's man. I do this. I teach this, and I know I'm not enough.
Sometimes
Jason,
from somebody
if
else.
you could speak to the 15-year-old version of Jason Wilson, what would you tell him?
First thing I would tell him is that you're good enough. When you have so much trauma in your family, especially growing up in my community, you don't feel you're good enough. You look at society, the way you're viewed because of the color of your skin, your mother checking out, your father not there. I see little Jason in the field across from my home by himself, playing baseball by himself. Hit the ball, go get the ball. Hit the ball, go get the ball. And I would tell him you're good enough. And believe it or not, your parents love you. One of them is wounded with so much trauma that she can't release it. And the other one thinks his worth is in his work. And he doesn't see your value until he becomes an old man stricken with Parkinson's disease. And now he's available and you two reconcile. So I would tell him you're worth everything, you're valuable, and you can cry. Because so many times in my life as a young boy experiencing the loss of friends, when I was in the 8th grade, my friend Kelly got shot in the head by a gun that one of our classmates had. He was just passing it to another classmate, and the gun went off and shot Kelly. We didn't have therapists. We didn't have counselors. We had to work through that ourselves. I never cried, and as a result, I started crying the wrong way when I became a teenager. My grades plummeted. I became angry at my mom, and she's the main person there, and I couldn't release it. So I would tell them you can cry, be human, and lastly, don't conform to the ways of this world. Excuse me. Be you. Live from the good in your heart, Jason. If not, it's going to lead you in areas where you're going to put your life at risk. I almost died 3 times trying to be something my heart was too big for. Like Tupac said, I wasn't a killer, but don't push me. And I tried to wear the suit of a thug. And I made an acronym for it after becoming a mature man that thug is a traumatized human unable to grieve. And that's all I was. And I fit in and had guns to my head before mail. And I probably wouldn't be here if not for the grace of God. And so I would tell Jason to don't try to fit in. Follow God. Follow your calling. You're unique. Don't conform. And then you'll truly carve out your way. And in the end, Jason, you'll heal. You'll find freedom. Your father, you'll finally hear at the age of 37 that he loves you. And you'll finally get the affection from your mother that you longed for young. When she finally gets dementia and can forget all the trauma she's been through. It wasn't until my mother lost her mind that she could actually experience life because she could no longer remember the trauma. So I tell them to be hopeful, become comprehensive.
I love you, Jason.
Love you too. And I mean that.
I really do. And I think
Love that brother too, man.
that acronym for thug, I think that
Man, it's
there's
amazing.
more people than not who are traumatized humans unable to.
By the time I'm his age, if y'all ever wondered, like, what direction is Ty Boogie trying to go? I want to be as wise, prophetic with my words like this brother right here. I want my story to be able to be told in a book. I want people to be able to buy a book from you one day. These are the things that I really want for myself. The way this man is, that is the embodiment of how I want to be at his age. Now, I mean, I don't know his personal life, but just what we see, you know, the way he speaks, the way, even to the point where how he's flexing his gray beard. I'm always for that. Like, man, flex the grays, bro. The grays mean wisdom to me. If I see the grays, I want to talk to you. Now, I mean, give me the game, bro. Give me what you know. I don't care if some of it is BS, some of it is real. Like, just give me what you know. The grays tell me is wisdom. I mean, like, and so all my brothers that don't like to show the grave, it's all good. You know what I mean? But I want to flex the graves. When it's time for me to go bald, I'm going baldy. You know what I mean? All
To
that.
grieve, walking around. And if you look at another person like that, you can see them with a whole lot of compassion. Because I think when you feel unseen or invisible or scared in life, you forget who you are and the kindness that's actually in your heart. Like, I am convinced that what's missing for most people is not the ability to change or to change your life. It's the hope that anything's going to matter, that despair and the unexpressed grief about all the things that you've experienced or haven't experienced is what keeps you from doing what you know in your heart you'd like to do, even if it's just saying to yourself, I don't want to feel like this anymore. I have to make some changes. And so I cannot thank you enough. I am grateful for you, for the work that you do, for how much you poured into us. And I'm grateful for the difference that it's going to make in the men and the young men and the boys that listen to this, and for the women who care about them enough to share this with them.
I'm again honored to be here. I love you. I don't throw that around loosely. I thank you for inspiring me on many days. You have no idea. I thank you for gracefully pushing me from the smallest things, like when I asked you for an endorsement for my first book. You told me as an exercise, I want you to write it because I don't think you know who you are, Jason. And then when I wrote it, of course, you had to make it fit what you said, but that
Even bigger.
yeah, and that stuck with me, Mel. Oftentimes, you're helping so many people that you miss the man in the mirror. And I want to thank you for reminding me who I was in that moment. And I appreciate you.
Well, I'm going to remind you of who you are right now, which is you're the man the moment demands.
All right, y'all. So that's the video, man. I'm actually gonna tag his book to the screen. I think if you scroll up or scroll down or whatever, it should be somewhere on the screen on where you can get that book. Man, I just started the book, so I'm on probably like page 10. The way I read books, just to give y'all a little bit of how I do things, I'm not to sit down and read a whole chapter one day. I usually don't do that. I gotta really be in a reading type mood to do something like that. So to give me something easy to do, but I'm still, moving the needle forward, I make it a little bit easy for myself. So I read 10 pages a day. I'll give you an example of how I'm going to finish his book. His book has about 11 pages or something like that. Maybe 220 or something like that. That should be 22 days. 22 days of me reading his book. So by the end of this month, I should be done with his book. That's how you finish one book in 1 month. Now, I mean, there's 30 days in a month, 10 pages a day. You can knock out a whole 300-page book. That's like Harry Potter or something like that, but nah. But anyways, man, hope y'all enjoyed this video. Very prophetic. It got me in my emotions. I don't know how y'all are feeling out there. I'm pretty sure this tug on somebody else's heartstrings as well. But I think this was very much a necessary listen. And I just appreciate y'all for sticking this far in the video. So without further ado, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I found out the other day that about 95% of the people that watch me have not hit the subscribe button. It doesn't mean a lot to you. I know, because all YouTubers say it. But it means a lot to the creator, because when we hit certain milestones, YouTube does something with our page to boost it out. Like, I don't really know how to explain it or whatever, but it boosts us in the algorithm. All type of stuff just starts to happen. I could get a plaque, all type of stuff, So if you could just hit that button, it's free for me. I mean, it's free for you, but it means a whole lot for me. And all that good stuff. And like I say in all my videos, y'all want to make some extra cash just playing games on your phone, you could click the link in the description below or the link in the comments below. These apps are paying people to play games on your phone. Just click the link, sign up, and if it's not for you, it's not for you. You'll see a whole bunch of games and how much money you can make playing those games. Just try it out. That's what I say. But anyways, y'all, it's been your boy, Ty Boogie. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe button, turn on my post notifications, and don't forget to hit that hype button so we can push this video out to more people. Anyways, y'all, it's been your boy, Ty Boogie. I'm out of here, man. Peace.